4 o'clock East Coast time, October 6th, 4 o'clock. Jerry, Jack, Jerry, Jack. What's going on,
Hey,
buddy?
man. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Chasing Dirt Show. Good to see everybody. Hope you had a great weekend and looking forward to a great week kicking it off with the Chasing Dirt fellas, the YouTube sensations.
The YouTube sensation of it all. No, October. This year's going fast. I think we got another month before time changes and sun's going down quicker. It was hot as hell in the Northeast this weekend. So that in sports was my weekend. Hope you had a decent, good weekend, relaxing somewhat.
Yeah. A lot of football. Just not bad in the Mid Atlantic. Not bad. Low 70s, early 70s, low 70s. So it's not terrible. So
yeah, and you're traveling today, so you're out and about. So we want to probably make this a quick one. This came up on my feed. You get into these algorithms within Instagram, and some are good, some are bad, but some are very interesting. I've been getting down some rabbit holes with some business. Before I forget to make sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to get up to a certain number of accounts. That there's a little bit of kicker in for us on viewability, all this stuff. So if you like and subscribe, even if you don't like us, still like us and subscribe. That's all that really matters to us, right, Jerry? No, I'm kidding.
No, I want to be liked, but yeah.
Yeah, like, subscribe. I think follow Google Alerts. Last week's call, and I'll go back into it. Last week's call got a lot of viewership, got a lot of comments behind the scenes with Avobot, so I appreciate that. I really like the conversation about that's going, and again,
it was pretty good.
But that was good. But I'm going to share my screen. Here's what I got that came across. I was doing my daily, post decompression walk from the day. And this thing came across this company called Share Willow. And I was going to ask you, Jerry, because I was just I was looking at it, and the guy had an interesting pitch. And he was like, you're trying to get your company off the ground. You may not have a marketing and sales team, but you want the whole organization collectively trying to move the ball forward. Maybe not the whole organization, or maybe it's the whole organization if you're smaller in nature. But his whole play was putting together a profit sharing program. And I know we've kind of dabbled in it and talked about it. People have asked, what kind of bonuses do you pay? But I kind of got this downloadable spreadsheet from him, and I thought it was pretty interesting that, he goes in, and this is one of multiple kind of what if scenarios, but he was getting to the point that he was laying out that a certain percentage of the profit of the company would be given back to key members of the company, or in some cases, if the company is smaller, be giving back to the company. And the way he was throwing this thing out was like, it was based on this situation here is tenure weighs in. Again, we can adjust this, but tenure weighs in at 25%. So how long have you been with the company? Again, trying to keep the best employees, going to keep them longer. That's a big issue within the business, turnover. What salary range are you at? And then what level, meaning what position? And kind of how this all flux into this spreadsheet is your start date, how many days of the company. So your tenure has a certain percentage there, 25% of the payout. So in this case here, if their quarterly net profits were $1 million, and again, we can change that number. This is what the payout would be based upon, a 6-employee type of organization. You get into the salary, here's the salaries, here's how this calculates out, and then you get to the level, which there's multipliers. So they treat different positions in different, multipliers. So an analyst who's behind the scenes doesn't really have much to do with the company other than just running some numbers, not diminishing that. It's a 0.1 versus a VP being 1 versus a maintenance technician 0.7. Again, these are all arbitrary things, but I thought it was an interesting way to go about to say, how do we keep employees longer that we want to keep? How do we incentivize them to really look at the overall profitability of the company? So I don't know, Jerry, you've been in this side of the business. What's your thoughts? Have you seen this? Have you done this?
I've not done it, but I have seen it. I've seen it actually done well. A particular company that I work with, a painting company here in the Mid Atlantic, and they incentivized these with the sales, the production, and the completion of projects. And they did commercial and residential. The commercial side was, commercial buildings, hospitals, schools, but also cabinetware. Things where they pre-built and built cabinets.
Yep.
And and on the residential side as well. So yeah, I've seen it done pretty much across the board, whether it was in their paint production, the actual painters, sales team, business office, and I think it was done well. The percentage it took him, when we start talking about this, I remembered, it took him probably right around a year and a half to really fine tune it and understand what was beneficial for employee engagement and retention, and also what was reasonable for the company to be able to afford. Obviously, the more money they make, the more money there is, the more profit share there is. So, and I love the fact that the owner was content and not, I don't know, greedy is such a horrible word because I don't mean it that way, but that's kind of the best way to put it. But it was very content and he was very invested in his people. And winning to him was when everybody on the team won.
Yeah.
So that was a
No,
big
and I
deal.
like this concept. I think the bigger organizations, that's a whole different conversation. But if I were to start a company and I'm less than 2 million, I'm trying to think about how do I get all of the troops rowing in the same direction? How do I keep them on the
Yeah.
boat and all row in the same direction? And I just dropped this down to 100,000 for a Q1 to make it more realistic for a smaller company. Let's say our Q1 net profits were that we're looking at a percentage, 20% of those, that 100,000. So we've got a $20,000 payout profit share. And again, this is a small organization with 6 employees, but I'm looking at this, I'm going, man, I've been here for 2 years and I'm going to get every quarter a $2,300 payout because we did well for a
Yeah.
quarter. That's not a bad little situation. If
No, that's great. That's great.
I'm
So
employee 5 and I've been around, what is that, a year and a half, but I'm a higher position. I've got an extra 5. I like this concept, and I'm going to explore it a little more. But it's called Share Willow, and again, I think you could probably do this on your own with this spreadsheet. I'll be happy to share it if anybody wants to drop me an email at Jack at GetRoute. I'll be happy to share it. But I think you can go to sharewillow.com and they'll share it. But I kind of like the concept. And again, I think too many owners at the smaller organizations, they get so, again, they've got a lot of the risk they're doing. They got a lot of burden, but if they had everybody rolling in the same direction, I just think it could be a win.
well, and my mantra was always, what can I do to get people out of 2 to 3 jobs to where they can spend time with their family? Well, if you got people into one job with you because their motivation was to help the company be profitable because it ended up in their pocket, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a really big deal. And I think that's something that should be considered in our industry as a BSC owner. I think that's something that could be very beneficial to somebody,
No, I think,
and especially on employee retention side.
yeah. I think one of my former employers, I think they were thinking about one, and the owner ended up turning it down, is what I heard. But I just wondered if I would have stayed longer, knowing that I probably would have. That I knew that, okay, I had a little bit of an increase here, a little more responsibility here, but if I left, I knew that would hurt me because there was another payout there. It just, yeah, a little stickiness, but something to think
Yeah.
about. And I think that's something I want to get some feedback as we kind of go into some more mentorship groups, which we're
Yeah.
working on building out one now for another coaching session. We do a 5-month coaching session. We also do 101. So if there's any interest in that, hit us up, Jerry at GetRoute.com, Jack at GetRoute.com. But we'll have something official, hopefully before ISSA, coming out on that. We do have our new website on GetRoute as well. So GetRoute.com, that's kind of the powered by I guess Chasing Dirt's powered by Route. So that new website's up. It's showing a lot of stuff. We're getting kind of geared up for ISSA when we're going to launch the Route Exchange, which is kind of the ecosystem that will tie into mentorship coaching, tie into supplier relations, distributor relations. There's just a lot of cool stuff going on. But one other thing, Jerry, I know you're on the road, so we'll kind of keep this one short today. But
No, you're good.
here's another thing that came across my feed, and I just thought this was fascinating. I'm going to share this as well. So I'm kind of geeking out this weekend for whatever reason. But
You're always getting out there.
have you seen these lasers that they're coming out with? This is on our community, but check this out. So this is tile, right? Grout. That's grout, the white lines. Check this out. This laser. Can you see that white?
Oh.
You see that white popping up? The dirt's basically being burned off.
Oh yeah.
And I know there's franchises out there right now that you go and they'll go in and they'll revigorate your your grout. There's the grout line right there. I just think that's insane. And I think that's like a $5,000, maybe a $10,000 machine. But I'm thinking rather than scrubbing on it for hours with all this stuff, boom, you got that. And the other one, it showed it with this. Look at this. This is graffiti removal. This is like you your arm. And just you go through and it looks a little tedious, like you got to go up and down. But hell, if you're sitting there scrubbing with chemicals and brushes and wire, all that stuff, I just think this is pretty damn interesting. And the company's called Narran, Narran, Laser Precision. I put the link in below here, but I thought that was.
And we ought to have somebody from there come on the show.
Yeah,
talk about it. That's interesting. I mean, obviously, it's all about time, right? Because that's what our business is all about, efficiency and time. But I mean, that might be something worth looking into. Because there's a lot of times where I was like, man, let's get the chemical right. What is it that works for tile and grout? What is it that helps get things clean? Even if you have a maintenance program starting from brand new, it's still hard. It's it's like it's kind of funny. I just helped my middle kid put in black tile in his kitchen, and he wanted black grout. Well, we covered the floor after we got it done, and still with all the construction dust and everything. By the time we uncovered it, the grout lines were were gray because there was so much dust. And we cleaned it and cleaned it and cleaned it. I thought, man, what is going on here? So, but yeah, that might be interesting to hear about that.
Definitely. And look at this. Let me show you one. Let me see if I can find the one that I saw. There was one they were doing like, you could tell it was an old building. And maybe I'll just find this one to show us like, it was an old building with old wood, wood paneling, like really nice wood paneling. But like, here's probably a prime example. Let me see if this was the one. This is like, see how they're going in, there's taking that finish off.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. And I've not seen that before. And I kind of went down this rabbit hole with this thing. And
wow.
That's not.
And what is that thing? Do they have a price on there?
I think I looked it up. I think that unit there was around 5 to 10. I thought
you could do restoration like crazy for places though.
Yeah. And it doesn't, you're not burning it. You're just basically taking that layer off. But that you'll see here, this is stone. So let's see what stone, that's wood. So that's wood. So let's look at this. Let's look at some metal here. Metal's probably not a good example because that's more for mechanics and whatnot. But let's see what they're doing. Oh, right here. So that's an old something. That looks like metal. I don't know. I thought it's pretty interesting that if you're looking to come through and really kind of remove some things there that you don't want to.
Wonder how that thing would work on really rough wax or something. I know it would take a long time, but that's
an interesting concept. Because I was thinking the same thing. Like you stuck this on some kind of cart and you just rolled it across the floor, and all of a sudden your floor was stripped. And
yeah.
I don't know. Here, let's see here.
They got some kind of mobile version of that where you could line it right up on the grout lines. That would be crazy.
So this is metal. So check this out. This is crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, that's wild.
Here's the one I was looking at. So this is like a wood panel. So you're taking this stuff off. I don't know. All right, I went down rabbit holes, but I thought it was kind of cool.
That's awesome, though. That's awesome. So sometimes that stuff works, for our industry. It's worth looking at for sure. So
time's money, and hell, if it's that much expertise, just don't get in. I guess don't burn yourself with it. But anyway, is there anything else you want to talk about? So I think that laser was kind of cool. We've got a guest coming up this week that we're going to bring in, so we're looking forward to that. Who are we bringing this way? We're bringing Claudia in. So
Claudia St. John. She is amazing. You don't want to miss that. She's just really, really, really amazing. In the HR area, her company has done amazing things for the BSCs and very well versed in our industry, and so she'll be a great guest to have on board. So
so we're having that. I know you're traveling, so go get safe travels. We'll wrap it up. Anybody has got any questions, drop Jerry email, Jerry at JackieGetRoute.com, JackieGetRoute.com for me. And I guess we will catch you guys Friday at 11 a.m.
Yeah,
East Coast time.
make sure and like the show and subscribe, and we get our name out there even more. So
Yeah.
it'd be awesome.
Good seeing you, buddy.